I'm looking around and I see some older saints in here who done been around, who done endured the course. See, well, this is what puzzles me, though. Right. This is what puzzles me. The saints in here that's done been here a long time, endured the course, but we get these saints that's coming in now that say, yeah, I've been here a while, I'm doing here, but then when you look around, they can't walk. Right. You look around, they're rolling in on the wheelchair, and they say, oh, I decided to come to Christ. No, you ain't decided to come to Christ. You just can't do what you used to do no more. You don't have a choice right now. But God will give you the endurance to fight the fight of faith, to run a good race. Next thing James said that you're going to have to deal with temptation. Right. Because temptation is everywhere. And everybody's going to be pulling at you. Everybody's going to be tempting you to do things that are ungodly. Right. Oh, they're going to come around you and they're going to say, sister, come on and go here with me and let's go down and try to hit berries and cherries and salmons and lemons. But you say, sister, no. Sister, I got to keep my faith. I'm working for somebody else right now. See, I realize that right now I'm under new management, and I found out one thing about when you're under new management. When you're under new management, you can't go where you used to go. You can't do the things you used to do. You can't hang with the folk that you used to hang with. And one thing about it, when you're under new management, not only does it make the enemy nervous, but it also makes people nervous. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Glory. Temptation. Young folks. I ain't forgot about y'all. Young folks, you be tempted every day in school. Right. Every day in school. But the reason I talked about that rod, you ought to thank Mama, because that rod is going to keep you out of a whole lot of stuff. Right. See, let me tell you about my testimony, my situation. I grew up in Los Angeles, California, right in South Central, where the gangbangers are running wild, doing all kind of crazy things. But I never did understand why my daddy kept me busy from sun up to sundown. All other kids was running the street, running up and down the street. He wouldn't let me leave out the front yard. I was 17, 18 years old before I stopped getting my last whooping. But now I look back and my daddy used to tell me, say, son, you're going to thank me one day. And I said, why am I going to thank him for whooping me all the time? But then I realized right now, my mother, if she was here, she'll testify this. Out of 15 boys, 15, I'm the only one that saw 40. I'm the only one. And I say, Lord, I thank you. So when your parents tell you something, it's for your own good. They ain't trying to hurt you. They're trying to help you. Because it's a dangerous world out there. And the temptation of this world, if you don't listen to them, it'll get you in two places. Behind prison bars, or it'll get you 6 feet in somebody's cemetery. Diverse temptation. James said, count it all joy. See, I realize that you may not be in the place you want to be, but you can count it all joy. You may not have the house you want, but you got a roof over your head. You ought to count it all joy. You may have lost your job last week, but you're still eating. You may not have your car running, but you still got the church on Sunday morning. You ought to just give God some glory and count it all joy. Diverse temptation. You have to realize that you have to stay in God's ark of safety to be able to come through any kind of diverse temptation. I remember when Job went through all kinds of temptation. Job was a man who lost everything. But Job stayed in the ark of God's safety. Job never turned back from the will of God. And God restored Job, and then not only did he restore Job, he said, I'm going to give you double for your trouble. All right. Count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptation. All right. Before I let you go, I want to leave you with a story. All right. One day in Alabama, there was a tornado that came through. In a little old small town, and it destroyed everything in its path. All right. It destroyed this old woman's house. It was her and a teenage son. They was living in a shotgun shack. And some of you may not know what it is. I know God didn't bless you and elevate you now. But a shotgun shack is when one door, you can stand in one and look straight through to the other. That woman and that boy had went through the storm and came in and it destroyed everything that they had. And when the storm was over, the little boy went off to the gym that they had set up for him to go to sleep. But his mama stayed right there in the middle of the street where that house used to be. And while she was standing there, somebody came up and sat next to her and said, do you have anything for us to do? She said, no, the TV is gone. She said, but I still got that old radio that I had when I was a little girl. So she grabbed that radio and she turned it on. And when she turned it on, she heard the President of the United States. He was talking